This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. I didn't hear anything, so that's why.
Usually it's.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Queensborough Mayor and Council meeting. Would everyone please rise for the pledge of invocation? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come before you tonight as we all gather to discuss the situations and for the betterment of the town of Bensburg. Oh Lord, we pray for all those people down in the Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and tip of West Virginia. Be with them, Lord. Let them know that there are people that's trying to get there to get them help and try to get them back. We know we can't replace everything. We can't replace lives. The Lord be with them and touch them. Now, Lord, help us as we go into the meeting to discuss the town's business. Please guide us in a godly manner that we make the right decision that's beneficial to the town and to the townspeople. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
We do have one absent tonight, Ricky Weaver, due to illness in his family. He will not be able to make it tonight, but all the rest of the council members are here. We need to review and approve the minutes for September 2024 regular meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? If so, do I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the September 9th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same, abstain, motion carries. Treasury report.
Okay, so, in the general fund, at the end of September, we had a balance of $3,561,583.37. In the water fund, we had an ending balance of $657,120.44. And the sewer fund had an ending balance of $316,951.02. Of course, we have investments under the town, and at the end of the month, our town investments came in at $2,372,423.66. Our other accounts, we have the restricted funds that we hold out at Middletown Valley Bank at the end of September with a balance of $453,042.98. The American Rescue Plan funds at $2,383,540.23. The water fund user fee money market account, ending balance of $2,560,206.99. And the sewer fund user fee money market account at $119,349.58. And that is everything that we have to date.
Anybody have any questions?
So the water fund and American Rescue are slightly different balances than what you sent earlier.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's the second.
Anybody other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. We have guests tonight. When you come forward, please state your name and address, and we do allow 3 minutes per public comments.
Wait, you're doing the guests before the public comments, right?
Yes.
I think since they're on the agenda, they're not limited to the 3 minutes.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Guess since you're on the schedule, you're fine. Thank you. Floor is yours. I was skipping myself going to public comments before. Sorry about that.
Should I speak from here or?
Wherever you want.
Oh,
As long as it picks up on my.
okay.
I have the photos when they do
Okay,
ready
great.
whenever you want those.
So-
Just tell me.
Thank you. Good evening. My name's Lee Doherty. I live at 21 South Main Street. And thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm here with my wife Joanna and my father-in-law Bill Wolford. I was born and raised in Boonesboro, graduating from Boonesboro High School in 1989. Joanna and I purchased and moved into our home at 21 South Main Street in August of 1997. Our son Jacob is a senior at Boonesboro High School. Bill is retired and has been living with us for over a year. We have thoroughly enjoyed living in Boonesboro and raising our son here. And given our proximity to our neighbors in the town center, thankfully, we've never experienced any significant challenges while living here. However, that changed in May of this year when the owners of the My Mini Mart Diner located at 23 South Main Street installed an illegal, unpermitted commercial kitchen grease exhaust system. I emailed town planner Drew Bowen on May 27th to inform him of my concerns. The next day, he promptly visited my home to investigate. Drew confirmed that the business owners failed to submit the required scope of work to him for approval. They also didn't obtain the necessary building permits for this exhaust before installing it. You may recall Drew bringing these concerns to your attention at the June mayor and town council meeting. In addition to failing to submit the scope of work and obtain required building permits, the exhaust system blatantly violates the International Mechanical Code as confirmed by Washington County Code official Greg Cartrett. This code states that the exhaust shall not terminate less than 10 feet on a horizontal line from adjacent buildings or property lines. This exhaust terminates approximately 2 feet from my property line, violating the required code. This exhaust also violates another international mechanical code which states that it may terminate through an exterior wall only where the smoke, grease, gases, vapors, and odors in the discharge do not create a public nuisance or fire hazard. I want to point your attention to Drew's pictures of this exhaust when he visited my home. And I'll be on screen. That's my outdoor living space. Oh, you haven't?
No, we got it.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
You're fine, yeah. Now, is that your window right there?
That is the mini mart.
That's
Mini
the
mart.
red brick.
There's the exhaust extending out over my living space. That's the TV and my umbrella. That's the circular thing is the air intake, and the big thing protruding is the exhaust, and it's blowing right over my, if you look, I don't know if you can zoom in. If you can see it, see where the white building is there? That's my property line. Okay? And if you draw it, basically goes straight down, it's about 2 feet from my property line. So if you could go inside all the pictures. Let's see here. As you can see, the exhaust vents directly over my outdoor living space and terminates approximately 2 feet from my property line. There is no question that the discharge from this exhaust will significantly and negatively impact my property. Here is a short video of the exhaust while running. Second.
It's kind of hard to get the real gist of it, but the one time I was home when it was running, we were standing, we couldn't hear one of them. I can't hear you. I can't hear you over there.
Who you got?
Case in point.
You're very important.
We use our second floor. Wait,
Yeah, we get to, you can stop.
I think she's trying. I do. Still annoying.
So we use our second floor balcony also to sit out, watch our life in our yard and whatnot. And that is basically in line with where it terminates is in line with our balcony. So I'm sure you'll agree that while this exhaust runs, the noise alone makes my outdoor living space unusable. During the summer months, work on this exhaust system continued. I observed grease fryers moved into the business. Fire X was on site, and Thompson Gas set large propane tanks in place. Each time workers were on site, the exhaust would run, sometimes for hours. Of course, this raised my concerns that zoning officials would not enforce the code violation and the failure of them pulling permits. Washington County Code official Greg Cartret told me he would work with the business owners to find a compromise that works for both of us. However, the code includes an exception, and this installation even violates that. This conversation between Mr. Cartret and me was nearly 2 months ago. I've heard nothing more since then. I struggle to envision an acceptable compromise other than moving the equipment to a location that does not violate the required code. My family and I are very concerned about the significant negative impact of this illegal and unpermitted grease exhaust on our quality of life and property value. This setup is not just a nuisance, but also poses potential health risks from the smoke, grease, gases, vapors, and odors it discharges. We are at risk of noise and air pollution, and the value of our home has decreased through no fault of our own. We're here this evening so you can hear our concerns and have them recorded publicly. We also request your assistance and support in ensuring that the Washington County Division of Permits and Inspections enforces this blatant code violation. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Lee, I didn't understand from the picture, the relationship of your property to Michelle's place with exhausting. Is your building?
I'm right next to the
Next
house.
to it, not across.
Yeah,
That's-
that's right.
Yeah, it's
Ours is the
very
yellow
close
on the
together.
left, hers was the red on the right.
Did you ever talk to her?
Yes. So I was able to actually speak when the technicians were there running a test on it. They filled me in that she did not have a fire suppression system installed in the building. None of her kitchen equipment was compatible with this exhaust, and she didn't have any propane in place at that time to operate whatever needed to be operated by that. So they said to me that there's no way she can legally operate this without those items in place. So I said, well, because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. I don't know anything about a grease exhaust system. I didn't know what they were doing. Well, the very next day, that thing fired up and was running for half an hour. So I went in and I said, I need you to explain to me what you're doing. What is this? Because I've never had any interaction with her. And she just said, what do you mean? I said, well, this thing is, I can't use my outdoor space. And she said, well, we put it as high as we could. And I said, Michelle, it wouldn't matter how high you put it. It's venting right on my property. No, it's not. I said, yes, it is. And I said, look, I spoke to the technicians and they told me you can't operate this without these items in place. And she says, oh, you met Lucky. I said, well, I don't know the guy's name, but he told me this should not be running. And she says, oh, well, they just left. Well, I know their truck, and I looked when it fired up, and the truck wasn't there, so I don't believe they were there, but that's my word against hers. And I just told her, I said, look, this can't be right. Like, what's going on here can't be right. I didn't know anything about the codes or anything, but common sense tells me this can't be acceptable. And she says, what, you think I did this without building permits? I said, well, I'm gonna find out. So I'm gonna find out what's going on. And I said, because this cannot be right. And I said, I'm not here getting angry. I'm not here to make a scene. I'm just putting you on notice that I'm gonna find out what's going on. She says, what, you think I did this without building permits? And again, I said, I don't know. And she says to me, well, you know, you could tear down your fence and build a wall.
Well, doesn't keep the noise.
That was her response.
Well, doesn't keep the noise or the smoke increase.
It almost sounds like the health department needs involved too.
I already called the health department. I called the health department that day and have yet to get any real response from them. There's a formal complaint filed with the health department. I've been in contact, with, Drew gave me the, email chain that's been going on with him in the county, and I got involved with that and started contacting them. And again, I reached out only when this thing was operating. I made a formal complaint. And then every time this would come on, I'm like, how can this continue to operate when there's a formal complaint and it's in violation of code?
When did you file a complaint with the health department?
The day I emailed Drew would have been, like May 20th.
Drew, have you heard anything from the county, any more about this?
Not recently, no. I saw that they issued a letter when I sent them notice that they had never applied for a zoning certificate. They said they had no copy of any building permit. They sent an inspector out, verified that it was done, and they said that, they would address it. Now, there have been, as the resident explained, there have been emails that were going back and forth information, and I'm just trying to keep everybody informed as to what was going on, but I don't think I've heard anything for at least a month or two.
Does the town need to draft up some letter
Yeah, what's-
signed by mayor and
what's the
council suggested steps
To both those departments.
Drew, do we have options as a town? What are our options?
Yeah, does the town have authority,
Zero,
and I know
or
it's
we
the
have
county.
enforcement?
So what you run into here is because we're a small municipality, we use the county for our building inspection.
Right.
So we passed a resolution that said we adopt all the Washington County building codes and we have to follow their codes and their process. So directly to answer your question, we have no say whatsoever. But politically, because we're a local government, they're a local government, something coming from the mayor and council going to those departments saying, hey, we're trying to get to the bottom of this. We've been notified, what is the status?
Yeah, I mean, because at a minimum, she shouldn't be able to operate it
No. What's the
during
gentleman-
the,
gentleman's name again?
Code enforcement.
Cart Trail?
Ray
Cart Trail.
Cartret. C.
I have-
Oh, you got it?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
and the health department,
I think they both need to know.
well, and the county commissioners, because county commissioners
true.
need to know it shouldn't be taking 90 days for
Right, do you know who
permit
you
department.
work with at the health department?
I can give you that information. I don't have it.
It's okay.
I have an email with her.
We'll see if we need it. We might not need it.
You mentioned there was an exception, but they're even in violation of the exception.
So the exception states that if the minimum 10 foot cannot be met, that it can be no less than 5 feet, but it must vent away from the property, and that's impossible with this.
Yeah, that's not makes sense.
I
No
actually
way.
walked up there and looked at it one day myself.
You're all welcome to walk up the street
Yeah,
anytime,
When that thing's
literally
running,
right up the street.
I actually walked up there one day when it was on, and you made no noise. I don't know how you can even stay in the house when that thing's on, so
Well,
noisy.
he can barely hear, and he could hear it inside the house.
I was trying to sleep in a lot. The morning, the first morning that thing was on, I said, what the heck is Lee doing now? They just running constantly, like roaring. So I had to get up, before I went.
Well, thankfully, since, Drew and the county, to everyone's credit, it has not been running, I don't think, for business purposes.
Yeah. The last time I heard it running was, the intake was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
It was
ago.
on Saturday, but it ran all day into
It
the
was Sunday.
evening when they were closed, which was weird.
Yeah, it ran from,
So it was almost like they turned it on and forgot they had turned it on.
now this wasn't the exhaust, it was just the
It was just
intake.
the
Oh,
intake.
okay, so it's.
But I don't even know why that would have been turned
Yeah.
on, but it ran all day at Sunday until well into the night, and then they, I guess, realized to turn it off.
An
And the intake's
interesting,
in violation also, is that correct?
I'm not a code official, but I'm assuming since it's part of the whole setup, it would be. But, you know, again, I reached out to the county questioning why are they still permitted to run this thing and do work on it? It should have a lockout tagout on it until this is resolved. And that was when Greg came out the next day, and I actually got to meet him and talk to him. So it hasn't really operated much during business hours. But again, I walk out my back door, I mean, it's there. I have no desire to move or leave Boonesboro, but what if I wanted to sell my home? How many people would walk in, potential buyers, and walk right back out the door?
Even though you're telling them she doesn't use it anymore.
Well, yeah, but how do I know at some point it won't?
Right.
yeah, like what if she moves out and somebody else?
Somebody else buys the
It's
building.
all Mr. Nice,
Has
where it's absolutely like
customers
a page
that use
polka dot. This one is actually in violation of the code.
It is.
And there's some issues with it. I just want to.
We will contact those people.
I really,
And one other interesting thing,
The town, that we would enforce that.
right.
the gentleman that installed it told you that 3 other companies had turned her down.
Refused to do it, to do that.
They should have turned her down too.
I know, that too, to me, is concerning, that it was even installed
Michelle is
without permitting.
persistent.
Well, I would like us to write at least an
Yes, we are.
official,
Oh,
you
we
know,
will.
letter from their council. Like I
We'll
said,
send a
I
letter.
feel like it needs to go to the department
And the
the
health
health
department.
department and.
And the county
commissioner,
Copy the
yeah,
county commissioners.
County commissioner.
Why they drag
County
their
exec,
feet, let's get it done.
Yeah. So that,
Sounds good.
Thanks
We'll
for
do the best we
coming
can
in
to
and-
try to help
and then if
you
we
out.
don't hear anything back, I feel like we need to follow up, you know, a phone call or something.
You got traffic in the front and that thing in the back.
We're used to that.
We
That
didn't
comes-
know.
You do get used to the traffic.
It's-
I'm on Main
And not only that, but it's a health concern for me. I don't want grease.
Right.
I've seen enough, Kitchen Nightmare episodes to see those grease. And that's another thing this technician told me, because I asked him, I said, what is coming out of there? And he said, well, it's over the grease. And I said, well,
Vapor.
is that gonna be clean? He said, as long as they clean the filters. I said, so my health, my air quality depends on her maintaining this thing? That doesn't seem, right.
Well, I think you've been overly patient in the
I've certainly
process,
tried.
and I appreciate your coming in and giving us as much detail. So let us get this letter sent off and try to follow up quickly.
I appreciate
This is
that.
ridiculous.
Good.
Thank you.
If you don't hear anything in a month, come back.
A month?
Well, I know.
We'll let you
I
know.
mean, we'll let you do that.
And 21 seconds?
Yeah,
It's
come
not
up
by
if
any
you wanna see it in
time.
person. Knock on the door, we'll let you take a look.
Oh,
The
you can
videos
do it
don't
around the back of the alley, you can see it plainly.
Yeah, it's
It's not.
unbelievable, but. All right, well, thank
Thanks,
you all very
guys.
much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Sorry, I almost skipped over you.
Oh, no,
Oh.
no, that's fine. Thank you.
Now, for public comments, when you come forward, please state your name and address and your situation. What do we have, right?
We have Kelly?
You stand up or you can. And she can pull the chair up too.
Second chair.
This is Abigail. Same, we're together. And I know we only have 3 minutes, but Abigail and Kelly Love Squadro, we actually have lived in the area, not in Boonesboro, for a little over 20 years. Abby moved to 310 St. Paul Street in the townhouses. She bought her first home at 22 years old, so we're very proud of her. We spent months renovating the inside of the home. It was in pretty sad shape, but it's beautiful now, and she lives there by herself. I had been also in contact with Drew, and I've been aware of Drew, because I know he used to work in Middletown, so I was happy to see his name. We were all very lucky to have him here. But I was just trying to get a handle on the road, and I know that those have been there for 50 years, and I know this isn't the first time that you've heard about the paving and the lack of plowing, in front of those townhouses. And so I just wanted to see what's the avenue to address that, what's going on there. And my understanding originally from Drew was that the property itself, the road itself was not dedicated to the town. However, I mean, I see clearly on the plat that it was dedicated after the townhouses were built on February the 9th, 76. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can be successful in getting those, getting that paved and I'm concerned because doesn't get plowed more than paved. I'm concerned about it not getting plowed because her single mom neighbor that are next to her are out there plowing, not just around their cars, which they expect, but the roadway as well. And not everybody is so diligent, so she works with Frederick County Public Schools, tries to get out there and, can come home. My husband is a volunteer fireman in the local fire department. He's worried about the fact of, emergency vehicles getting in there. We're not talking about a big, long stretch of road, but we are talking about safety, and I just wanted to see what what could be our avenue to success in getting that done for that strip of road.
We've already had some people contact us
I
a
heard.
couple weeks ago, and we are in the.
That is why I'm here.
Oh,
I have pictures. I've been in contact with Jeff Klein, the vice president.
Wait till we're done.
Okay.
Have your thing to say. We are in the process of working. Rachel's been in contact with them to see what procedures we can go through, because we understand the HOA has felt completely apart.
I mean, I don't know when that was or what that was, and aside from the HOA, when just reading the dedication that's on that plat, and that it was then revised and signed off on with a, I know Drew had said that there had been a draft of a deed dedication that looked like it had never been signed. I feel that there's some sort of, this oversight for 50 years must have been a clerical error or something that dates back to whenever, but I understand that it was never finalized, or that there was a missing component, maybe there was two pieces that needed to be together, because we have a plat that's signed off on, post-build, when these were built. So we have that, there's a missing component, I get it. So just trying to figure out how.
Well, the lady that used to be the manager used to live down around Marysville someplace. Wolfsville Commons, what it was called.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's when it was through the HOA and.
We don't want an HOA up there.
It's all fell apart now, so.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
We're in the process. of
Right,
looking
and
into that. It may take, bear with us, it could take some time.
It's
because of
taken 50
legality.
years. So
I
I
have
just,
been around.
I know,
been
but
on
here's
for
the
50 years.
problem, and I sympathize with you greatly. But if we just come in and start to maintain a road that we don't own and plow it, then everybody on the other streets are gonna want us to plow their driveways and maintain a road, you know what I mean? So there has to be
and I
some kind of a
respectfully
process.
disagree, because I believe that you do own it based on.
No,
some-
the
No,
HOA
no,
owned it because of
it's
it was
never
a
been turned
townhouse
over to us.
situation.
So the
And it's
dedication
common road.
that's on the plat, and then and then the signing off on with the approval that has a file number, that means nothing.
But
we
the
never received
the
any-
other part wasn't to the town, it was to the HOA and it's the Bill Common. It's because of it's a townhouse situation.
So there would need to be a deed,
Right.
right? Not just on the plat.
We have to go through the-
That's what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
Drew said that at one time there was like, that there was a draft of the deed that doesn't seem, I just wanna know, where do we go from here and how? do
Yeah,
we
and that's what
get
I say, we have to kind of figure out how to do that, because we can't just simply say, which we'd love to, we're gonna go and do that.
I totally
Because
understand.
then, you know what I mean, like I said, then we become liable to do it for every.
I just want to know
resident
what
in the
other
town.
instance in the town is there that's
Let's
similar
see,
to
that
this.
there isn't, because that's the only townhouse
Correct,
situation, that
correct.
one and the one out at Fletcher's Grove, which we do not maintain. their
Correct, and
roads to
they,
plow
but
either.
within there, and I'm a
Yeah.
realtor, by the way, so
Yeah.
I've seen all the HOA
Yeah.
documents, I've seen, so I know that Fletcher's Grove,
Yeah.
the responsibilities of that
Right, and
HOA,
see, if
and
we
they
start for
pay.
you, then what to encourage them to keep paying their own HOA, other than to just dissolve, and then we have to start to maintain theirs. You know what I'm saying, like, we gotta look at that side of it too, we can't put ourselves in a pickle
Right.
where we end up,
Yeah, I
you know
mean,
what I mean, having
right.
to
I
do
mean,
that, because that's not fair to the other taxpayers,
Right.
you know.
So the only difference between that is that there were formal HOA documents that they accepted when they purchased their property. We did, and nobody that lives there now,
Right.
whenever it was disbanded, unless there's an original owner, and maybe Heather Klein is the only one that's been there long enough to know the answers to these questions, and maybe this lady over here. But I'm just saying that we were never presented with, nor have there been any enforceable HOA
Right.
in there that we as purchasers, as purchasers, were able to review. And by law, we would have 5 days to do that. So they've accepted that, they've signed off on it in Fletcher's Grove. That's their burden to
Right.
then disband. We don't have that. So I'm not saying that I think that this is a blanket thing, but there is no other instance. And when the town plow goes by up the road to do Valley View, it's kind of like, what did they do that we need to do, or how do we remedy this? So that's the only reason why we're
And
here.
I get it,
Yeah.
and this isn't the first time, and I.
And I knew that. I mean, I know that this is news to you,
With,
but
But we're.
right, but still, then again, like, we're taking on, like, you know what I mean, like, I'd like to have my driveway, repaved and surfaced too, you know what I mean, like.
I think that's a stretch.
No,
Because
it's not, it's.
But you
it's
drive on
not
a town road,
because
but you drive on a
the
town road.
But the town road ends there, that's what we're
The
saying.
town does own that road.
No, we
I've
don't.
been to the court, Mary Lee, they do. My dad's been there. We have a plow up there because of my dad. He was president of the Fair Hall for 28 years.
Yeah. and
They
that's
wanted
fine.
him to be there. I talked to Skip Kaufman. He said that should have been taken care of many years ago. The
And I
town
agree, it
needs to
probably should've been
redo
like
that
football, but
entire
we can't
road.
just, like,
Jeff Klein said
scratch a
the
thing.
town needs to redo he sent a video to Howard that I went live on Facebook.
I never received.
You should have seen it. He said that he sent it to you. Well, I'll send it to you.
I know my 3 minutes are up.
We're-
And I
Did
appreciate,
we-
and
I
I
know we
appreciate,
had it after last month,
and
or
I,
last
and,
meeting.
whatever that,
Rachel.
We have the history on it, but we don't have a resolution to the situation.
correct, and
There's
that was
a
my
lot of-
understanding, so I figured, collectively, we work together, we could get the resolution. We could.
So my question would be, Drew, do you have any experience with handling a situation like this in your past experience? Or like, do you think like we could reach out to, Washington County or Frederick County to see if they've had experience where, an HOA dissolved and,
I've been
maintenance
there
hasn't
22
happened?
years. There's not been an HOA for 22 years. Kurt Boyer's been there longer than me. He never had an HOA. That was dissolved, 4 years ago.
established the fact that it's
Yeah.
been
We know
there.
that. But just because the HOA dissolved doesn't mean ownership transfers.
That's
Right.
what-
And I understand it's probably a two-part, and so
Yeah.
like my brother-in-law's the superintendent of highways up in New York where we used to live, and I had him look at it, I said, what am I missing?
Right.
And he said it's probably a two-part, I don't know what the process is here in Washington County, but it's probably a two-part process, and it's, whatever, whatever.
Yeah, and
there
they
has
were
to be a
probably
deed,
the very
there
small
has to
townhouses
be-
built in the town.
Sylvia Galper owns
Probably
3
no
townhouses. It's
Either
gone.
one.
Right.
Sylvia Galper owns 3 townhouses.
And I
Said she's owned them. There's not been an HOA there for over 40 years.
so
We
when
don't want an HOA there. It's not
Can you
gonna
wait till
happen.
it's your turn to
Yeah.
speak, because you're taking up her time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that guy took almost a half an hour.
Well, he
so-
was on the
He was on the
agenda.
agenda.
And I knew I wasn't, and I just, if I needed to.
Eric
be
knew
able-
I was gonna be on the agenda.
Okay, so after the two ladies came to our last meeting, we started pulling the history on it. We found that yes, this does go back a very long time, and as a result, there is a lot of history with it. So I'm possibly not getting all of the details in correct chronological order. But there was a point where there was an agreement being reached and then it dropped because not all of the property owners were on board with the agreement. And I'm thinking that is why the dedication was not, the second part of it was never completed. I'm not positive
So
that I have that.
Right, and I had seen that also, that there was an offer or something, and that was like, I'll say in the 50 years more recent, you know?
And they did not all want to agree to it, and the town presented options to them, and was like, the last communication that I found on it, or well, I didn't find your, the last communication that I had on it was that not all the property owners were on board, and mayor and council at that time said, well, this is what we can do, you know, we're trying to meet you halfway here.
Right.
And it stopped.
And I think where I was confused on, because I received that, you know, I had that same information that you have, and where I was a little bit confused was, whereas she was on St. Paul Street, I felt like that a lot of that was actually on the Valley View side, where those are a little bit newer and a little bit, that communication and that resolution and that offer was for them and not necessarily for us, and I may have misread that. But I almost feel like they're treating them as the same, but they're actually different because of the different times that they were built and how they, you know, are getting plowed and how they, and I believe that as an offer of good faith, that you all paid them, I don't know, recently or somewhat recently, even if it's in the last decade, I'd be happy. But I think we just need to, like, similar to this, John, we just need to work on it, and I'm willing to help and do and dig and deed and, you know, all these things that I do on a daily basis with real estate anyway. But I wanted to make sure it wasn't in any, like, if there was something in the history, that's why we're here, that would negate my efforts, I didn't want to waste anybody's time.
I understand, and I appreciate you coming
Appreciate you.
forward
Oh,
with
yeah.
the backstory. What's going to be happening is I'm going to be getting in touch with the property owners up there on Valley View and St. Paul Street to have an opportunity for them to all come together so that I can hear all of the concerns, because while the two ladies that attended last month had a number of issues and you're presenting issues, I'm sure that there's more. So I want to understand everything that is going on so that we can see what we can address, because we're likely not going to be able to fix all of the problems.
Sure, and I wouldn't even know what
Yeah,
those
because
are.
like one point would be like if we paid the middle, you know what I mean, then where the parking spots are, you know what I mean, don't get paved, or there's an edge.
There's a
and then,
lot of
you know what I mean,
homeowners
like
up
there's
there, so
yeah.
to try to have an opportunity for all of them to come forward so that we can see.
I would appreciate that if we could all get together. And, you know, and as a side note, I mean, I just think that Abby is so lucky to be living here. And I really, you know, you enjoy being here. And,
Yeah, it's a
we're gonna
bad
try to keep it
situation.
that way.
yeah, and so,
Yeah, because there's an issue with the grass at the road.
oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
So we,
it-
and that's,
yeah.
yeah, and that too, like, I mean, and that's fine. Like, you know, we have somebody that cuts all that, you know, but, you know, that, I understand.
I mean, I would
how
love to just say we can go up and pave it, you know what I mean, but again, it
Mhm.
just opens up a can of worms that we gotta make sure.
Because if something would happen, we're liable.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have a plan.
Yeah,
Right.
let's
Rachel-
start with the meeting.
It's on record.
Rachel has a plan and she's working on it. You voiced your opinion. The other ladies last month did.
I'm sure
We're gonna
that's
have a young
happened
lady
somewhere
here,
else.
so it's gonna all be on
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to have a little bit of time here so we can
It's not gonna
delve
take
into it.
over, it's not gonna happen overnight.
I-
It takes time.
I understand.
Because when you're dealing with property owners, some people's gonna be in favor.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I totally understand. Okay.
You
Thank you for
mentioned
your
her
concern.
address was 310.
310.
Is that in Valley View Court?
No, it's
I'm
St.
not
Paul.
sure.
That's on St. Paul.
St. Paul
She's
Street.
in one of the townhouses.
Past Valley View.
The three rows of houses,
Those
she's
houses.
the first
She's
row.
the first,
Yeah.
She's way down below me, Eric.
Down there.
So the first row is called St. Paul.
You're there close to Kirk Boyer.
I guess because they just gave it that, and that's, I
Thank you
probably.
very much.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
know what I mean, back
Yeah,
at
I'd like
that time.
recommend any further topic on this, or discussion of this, we put on the agenda, this was well excessive public comments.
Well, her comments didn't take 3 minutes, but the
Well,
rest
I
of the
don't
back
think
and
she
forth.
knew, yeah.
So, yeah,
I
that's
didn't
okay.
know she
Now we
was-
have.
I actually did have
Would you
a
like to
question
follow
about
up
that.
on, anything new?
Well, I want to show the pictures, because I'm affected more than anybody, because This is in front of my house. I mean, this is my car. This is the worst of it. And it's a gutter, it's from the rain. And I've had my car in the shop twice. I've had to pay over $2,000 to get my car fixed.
Yeah, the day you sold me for it, rode up to that thing, looked at it.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And it's, all these cars are getting down the line because of it. And Skip said the town could be responsible for, they're talking about 12 townhouses, 2 cars apiece, that's 24 cars.
Yes, but when Skip was mayor. and
Well,
was out there-
Well, I'm sorry, he's not mayor. I'm sorry, my dad was too
He's
sick
not
to
the mayor.
become mayor. But we don't own that embankment either. That's part of the town. That's what community service could be for the guys, like my dad used them for the fire hall. But I came to y'all 2 years ago asking for help
Well.
up there. I mean, you're doing Lakin Avenue, there's nothing wrong with it.
We're
You did
looking
between,
into
excuse me, I
now.
get 3 minutes. You get
Man,
between
you're gonna
Lakin
try to
Avenue,
you're gonna have to leave,
you're
or you're gonna be under arrest.
Lakin
Ma'am,
to Ford.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Thank you. We,
Do I get 3 minutes?
No, you're under a no trespass order in this building.
Order in this building.
You're trespassing.
When am I supposed to be here?
You're trespassing, there's a no trespass
No
order.
trespassing.
I never signed anything.
You didn't have to sign anything.
It was served on 2 years ago, Dave.
You
2 years ago.
Causing enough disturbances in this town hall that you're no longer serving people. Okay?
I'm allowed to come to town meetings.
I mean,
No, you're not.
You can talk to me all you want,
Okay, if not,
but I'm a resident and I pay taxes.
we appreciate that, but you've also caused numerous disturbances here, and that's why, we're going to give your.
I haven't been to a town meeting in 2 years.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Didn't recognize her, I would have said something right away.
Mayor, that's all for public comments.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Dave. I forgot about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot about that. That happened 2 years ago.
I didn't recognize her, I would have said something earlier.
Okay, sorry about the interruption. Facilities report, Public Works Superintendent, Greg, floor is yours, sir.
All right, we'll start with Hunt Spray Brothers. They finished all the paving and all the patching in town. They did a pretty good job. They, the walking trail, in case you guys are wondering, we're waiting on a permit through the county, a grading permit. We did the pre-construction meeting. We met with soil conservation. So as soon as the grading permit, Rachel's working on it with them. As soon as he gets here, he'll be able to start. So that's the only thing that's holding us up. The sewer collection side, everything's been good. The water distribution side, the lead and copper mandate that MDE put on us is due on the 16th. We just received it today, me and Drew, and Yvette. We'll finish the cover page tomorrow, so it'll be sent one day before it's due, but it'll be done. We'll send it to them.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, that's it.
So, question, was there a deadline for the park trail thing?
There was, but it was Drew, a deadline Drew put on.
Okay, I just wondered, because since Ricky's not here, he's the park board liaison, because I know at the last park board meeting, they wanted to know what would happen if it wasn't done.
I
All that
have not
rain-
found a due date for expenditure of the grant funding,
Okay,
so I think we're fine.
okay, I just want to be able to.
We had the
let
weeks
park
where the
board
rain had
know.
just
Do we
backed them
have
all
a,
up.
so we don't have even an estimated
Even,
date,
even if, well, they said they would do it in what, a week?
Week.
week once they get the
Even,
permit.
even if we are out of, it comes that the ground's frozen, we can't do it till spring, we can request an extension for the funding because of weather delays, like they can't pave when it's raining for.
Oh, I
10 days
understand,
straight.
yeah, I just was gonna say, so we can tell the park board members, volunteers, because they'll ask at their meetings.
She called me today, Laura did, and I told her what was going
Yeah,
on.
okay, perfect, yeah.
So basically, it's the county.
In the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for Greg? Water Resource Superintendent report. Pete?
Well, the water side, everything's running pretty smooth. All that we did have to pull a pump in Keysville Spring House that just failed and stopped running. It's no good anymore. So I had to take it to the shop.
But that's different from the, whatever it was, wasn't there something at Crest?
No, this is a different pump. This is in the water side.
Okay,
Okay.
Which you're talking about for the sewer.
Okay.
And this is the spring house pump in the spring. It's been quite a few years since we had to pull it in. I had to bring a crane in to get it out of there. That's how you gotta do it. So it's gonna be a costly little repair. It's
Why
on the
don't you
water
call
side.
Matt on the Keysville Town Council and have him crane it out and ask him to do
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I bet you if you ask Matt, he'll help you.
I know.
Matt, no, he won't,
He
because
won't.
conflict of interest.
Oh.
He doesn't want to do it, he just stays out of that part.
Gotcha, okay, makes
So always have Scotty come from Scotty,
Okay.
Screen to do it, he does it down for us, so I've been doing it for years. Also for a well, we're still waiting for MDE to review the results and get back to Brian and let them know if they're good to go on that, so I'm in the process right now of trying to get Brian to push them in the lab, because I told them we're tired of waiting, we're getting impatient now. I know I am, so this has been going on long enough, and I'm just trying to hurry to get it pushed on it so we can get it done, hopefully before it gets cold. Everything else on the water side is good. On the sewer side, we're running pretty good. No pumps have failed, all but the bypass pump at Young Avenue. I'm thinking it's a sensor fault for it's saying low pressure, on the low oil pressure, which I know it's not. I think it's just a sensor, I'm hoping.
Okay.
But I got a hold of the technicians today and wait for them to get back with me with a date to come check it out. Other than that, everything else on the sewer side, and I'm still waiting for the pump that we ordered. That at least has 6 weeks before we can probably get it, so it's that much of a delay in getting it. So other than that, everything else is good.
Good. Anybody else have any questions of?
Is there anything that we can do with MDA to get this result?
MDE.
No, MDE, I'm sorry.
It's up to the lab. They're taking a good old time getting results done to send it to MDE after they get them done. So I've been dealing with them too on the press stuff, because it's the same lab that's doing a press stuff.
So
I've
we've
been called them
paid-
myself, and now I'm still waiting on them to get back with me. It's been 2 days since I've called them, so.
Yeah.
People just take the good old time and answer me back, so.
So we've paid 5 of the lab bills. So they are processing them, and they all say for MDE, so,
Stop paying them.
yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Call and
that gets
ask,
their
why did we
attention.
pay this when we haven't got the results yet?
Well, we got the results, but the thing of it is, it's MDE.
They
getting
have to
them.
send them.
They
yeah.
gotta
MDE is
send
getting the
them.
results
They
and
gotta-
reviewing them.
Yeah.
Getting MDE to review them is what's taking the time. MDE is slow. They've lost a lot of the workforce down there. They're way behind on everything. They got 3 inspectors to do 3,000 plants. So they're gonna be, it takes time, so.
That's not- yeah.
And they're always way behind, and that's what always holds you up is MDE. Always take the good old time, so.
No, state won't do it. Okay, sir, thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions of Pete?
No, thank you. Did you get I guess, was it the pump at Crestview or the, something
No,
had
yeah,
gone out? you had to
34 pump
redid it?
station.
That one there, as I was saying, that's got a 6 week leeway waiting for it.
Right,
Everything.
did you get,
because of the
didn't you, were
way
you
they changed the
patching
pump.
something or you got?
It's been ordered, they've just gotta wait for it to get here.
Yeah, we're coming up on 6 weeks, so.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close to it.
Town managers report.
So I submitted the application and, request for Maryland Historical Trust project review for the $1.5 million, legislative bond initiative for the reservoir and the 300,000 that's, earmarked for the sewer for the tap room. The next steps are that once those are approved, then the Board of Public Works has to approve the grant agreement and then the contract eligibility determinations. And then we can finally submit for reimbursement. So that's just kind of a long process, but it's inching along. The Safe Routes to School sidewalk retrofit grant funding. Oh my gosh, that we got from, the feasibility study is complete and now I need to do an RFP for the design phase of it. So we have the grant funding for that, it just needs to be done. The construction management and inspection RFP, that is due Friday at 3:30, that's for the reservoir. Bids will be open at 3:30 on Friday. We had 3 contractors attend the pre-bid meeting. WRA, which we already knew, and then EADS Group and Arrow. We opened the bids today for the actual construction of the reservoir, so that's on the agenda later, but that went well. Took a class last week that was, for financial administration of federal grants, so, I learned some stuff in that I really didn't know, so I need to be examining our processes to ensure that we're complying with the federal regulations for some of our grants. And then, I was going to say that the townhouses along Valley View and St. Paul's can schedule a meeting with the residents to hear their feedback. So, anything else you guys want to know?
Thank you. Anybody have any questions of
I do
Rachel?
have a question about the sidewalks. So the feasibility study's done. Do they talk to property owners? Did they do that during the feasibility or does that come during the design? Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna start to build a sidewalk on the side of someone's yard.
I have a copy of the property owner, they talk to you?
No one talked to you. No, he's not.
He-
No,
he
he's
won't
not
be-
on
he's on
Cedar
Orchard.
Street.
He's on
It's-
Orchard. It'll be on Orchard, but it'll be on one side of Orchard.
It's Orchard Center and Ford, I think.
Orchard Center,
Oh, so it's gonna
Ford,
be the side street and the center street.
but it's not gonna be both sides. It's on
Just the one side.
His side probably won't be affected because of all the hills. They would have to cut out some people's
That's what
front yard.
that's what I wanted
So it'll
to know,
probably
like,
be on Orchard, it'll probably be on going up the right-hand side, because that's pretty flat on the right side.
so they didn't talk to property owners during it.
Probably not, but we have.
I don't know how you can find out if it's feasible if you didn't talk to property owners.
Well,
They're gonna let
there's
you.
a right of way
Okay,
so
so-
far
okay.
that property
That
owners
they
don't have
probably
to
don't
say
have to
anyhow,
say, okay.
so that part will be where the sidewalk probably gets.
Okay, that's my question, all right.
I do know.
The way it was explained to me when
they talk.
when Paul was here first started, he said we have a right of way so many feet, so that's where it's gonna be at anyhow.
I have a question for Rachel and a comment about sidewalks. I know the mayor had mentioned to me that the sidewalk in Orchard would be on the opposite side from where I live. But of course, everybody knows where the school's at, and all the kids walk through my backyard anyway.
I know.
So I think that's a little crazy, but I know what you're saying about where the hills are. But, back to Rachel, you go kind of fast and I'm slow. You talked about the 300K grant for the auction house. That's the same money through Senator Corbin, right?
Yes.
So is the plan for that, Mr. DePietro spends his money, we're not spending our 300K, they're spending his 300K, then he gets reimbursed. We're just administering that grant, right?
I don't have that answer yet. That's one of the things that I am trying to work out, because since the town does not own the property at all, we're not a co-owner or a full owner, Petro is going to have to be the grant recipient. He has to be the one, the beneficiary in the grant agreement.
Right, well, I understand all that, I just kind of, as you were going through that, we never intended to spend our money first, and then that was never our intent.
I would not want us to do that. There's different ways that you can pay invoices with fees, with the LBIs, the legislative bond initiatives.
Right.
And I was going to avoid the route where we would have to pay money, but that was before I found that he has to be the beneficiary. So I don't have an answer yet, but what I suspect is that we do all the paperwork and all the work essentially for this. And then it's up to him, and he will have to do, like, how we were waiting on the contract eligibility letters for that other funding. And then I had to submit, I had to make copies of all the invoices and everything and submit those to get reimbursement. I think he's gonna have to do that piece.
So-
I think we're taken out of the equation at that point.
So as far as we know, he's in a rush, we've all heard that. This is not holding him up from.
No, he was waiting on supplies.
I thought he started by now.
There's some discussion about us getting a fee to do some of that administration.
There was a discussion.
I don't know
That's
whether we
what-
ever landed on
Nah,
that.
that's what felt to you.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Especially when it got reduced from 500 to 300.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other questions of Rachel? Thank you, Ann. Town planner, Drew?
Hey, received your monthly reports for planning and zoning. Just a couple of highlights from the planning staff report. I did meet with Mr. Richard O'Brien, representing LGI Homes, about development of the King Road Associate property. He has been reached out to Steve Oder and is working through them with the fonts. They apparently want to make an offer. It's all words right now, but just he did come and meet. He did come and ask about the zoning. Just making you aware of that. Chase 6, all state highway plans have been approved. Right away is everything.
Traffic lights too?
All the plans have been approved. Traffic light hasn't been ordered, but they've been approved. So that's done. You all are up to speed on the auction house with the public works agreement. They can start at any time. And Schaefer Park, you were updated on that. Zoning violation, zoning information. I got some investigations that are ongoing. One, of course, you talked about tonight already, and 2 others that I'm looking into. You can see the building permits that were issued last month. Any questions, comments, concerns?
You never always gotta have comments.
I have one.
So you know, I read the stuff, you. I just wanted to make everyone aware on Drew's planning report, where he makes a meeting with the EMUC regarding future sewer service along North Side Main Street. I do intend on, along with Tony, we want to try to fund in FY 26 this, we'll call it the permanent gravity line out here. So just put that on everybody's radar. I know it beat Rachel up about it. That's what we've been calling the permanent, and I would love to get it funded in FY 26.
Good. Question,
Yes, sir.
where are we with Mr. McElwee?
We met with Mr. McElwee today. We formulated a plan to move forward. That plan that we've tentatively discussed is to get a new building for his commercial establishment built on the property before Christmas, so that he can, that's his dead time of year, he doesn't have business during that time. Get that up, so that he can get that moved, and we discussed the appraisals and, you know, what he was willing to do, and he's, doesn't have an unreasonable request. The appraisals came out, the average was $205,000. That is not replacement cost, that's just what the cost is.
You're not, I don't,
You wanna hold off?
I don't think anything else should be said in open session,
Okay.
just in case.
Yeah, the land negotiations is something that happens in executive session, so y'all probably get something from the town manager on that. But very accommodating, still very much wants the project to go forward.
Good.
What we were trying to do is we were trying to identify what were his concerns, what were his timeframes. The most important part of that project, more than anything else, and pull it up on a set of plans. So Mr. McElwee's house is right here. This is the new road. Okay? This section of road, it's critically important that we build this section of road in that window when the kids are out of school to minimize the most impact. You're going to have issues up and down here as they widen the lane, they put in the traffic signals, they put in the mast arms. It's gonna be a mess, okay? We all know it's going to be a mess, okay? But we really want to focus on getting everything done so that this portion of the job can be done during that window when the kids are out. So the more that we can do to get McElwee off of his property and onto the new property, even if we have to do it before the deeds change hands, that's what we talked about today. That we could get if we needed to, we would work with the Board of Ed, the county commissioners to get permission to build stuff on there before, because it's going to transfer. We all have these letters of intent, we're working on an MOU, there's all this money that's been assigned to this project, plans have been approved, this is not something that is an idea somebody had. I mean, we're down to brass tacks with appraisals and everything else. So what we specifically focused on is how do we get him out of here by the first of the year, so that we're free and clear here to be ready to go. This work here doesn't matter when this work happens. This doesn't matter. I mean, it has to be done at some point, obviously, but this isn't, whoops. This doesn't affect the school traffic, not like this will. And I can't imagine how we could take that road out of service and put another one in without using that window. I just don't know how you would do it. Where are you gonna run everybody out? You're gonna run them all the way back to Mapleville? I mean, oh my God, that would be a horrible idea. So that's what we worked with him. The most positive thing I'll say is he's still very much in favor of the project. He thinks it's the right thing to do. He still feels very much that way. I asked him what we could do to make him feel more comfortable and gave him some suggestions. And so I told him I would send him an email every Friday letting him know the status of where everything was. So he didn't feel like he wasn't in the know. So
do we need to schedule a special session?
you should.
I was going to do that for the workshop that's 2 weeks from today, so that at the next meeting it can be approved, like in executive session, go over what we need to do, and then in the November mayor and council meeting, we can approve it. And I explained to him that the agenda for today was already posted, so it would have to wait a month, and asked if he was comfortable with that, and he said that he was fine with that. He just wants something basically in writing confirming that this is happening and this is what's going on. And I think that today he laid out all of the things he wanted. Like he basically was like, this is where I'm.
But can we do it at the workshop if we have a closed session before that to keep it rolling faster, or?
I mean, as long as that.
I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean? I hate to have like a closed session and think we're gonna come right out of it and vote, because you know how that works.
We could have.
Somebody doesn't understand something, we have questions, something doesn't.
We could have a closed session before a workshop and then vote on it in the workshop.
And I'm
Is
saying
that
that
what
too
you're asking
because
to do?
Well, I'm just
He's
trying to
asking for
keep
a
it,
end
I
of
mean,
year.
if you want this done sooner, then to me, waiting 2 weeks is shorter time than 4 weeks. I was just asking, I mean, if that's something we need to do.
The only reason
schedule
I was saying to approve it in the November meeting was I didn't think that it was like a workshop item. So I was just trying to keep the mayor and council meeting for what it's supposed to be for and the workshop for what it's.
I get it, that's what I'm saying, I'm just asking.
But I
if
told
you-
him it was going to be
better
a
if we
month
do
and he
that.
was fine with that, just so long as something was in work. And I told him that, you know, if I had a draft of something, I could send it to him to show him, you know, we're not kidding, we're doing it, so.
Well, and he did send back an email after our meeting today. He does have a lease with somebody, and he's got to give them notice. I said, please pull the lease, send us a copy. Let us know what the notice period is, because a lot of this is going to be contingent on that. So again, a lot of these meetings with him are starting to pull in all the details.
So we'll have an executive session after the workshop. And then formally vote on it in November.
that gives us enough timeline.
Yep.
Then I have one other question, because I had the townhouse update on my notes to ask. So I have one other thought that just came through when I was thinking that maybe we could reach out to MML. You know, we have the MML, you know what I mean? I just can't imagine.
You mean with the apartment?
Yeah, like, you know, with an HOA dissolving, so no one's done the
we could-
maintenance, what
we could
happened?
talk,
I
yeah,
just keep
that-
thinking, someone else somewhere's had
Somebody
this
else has had that
experience.
problem,
Like, how did they work through it?
That
Can
would
they give us suggestions? And I thought, well, maybe MML. And then is Rachel, the manager, taking the lead, or is Drew taking the lead, or how do we keep
Drew
that?
provided, you know, the history on it, but I'm.
Okay, I just didn't know if it's
mine.
on your slate that you have enough
It
time,
is.
or if that's something that can be a shared
It is.
responsibility, or.
That is a good idea, Beverly. Thank you.
You know what I mean? I'm just sitting here thinking,
Somebody-
like, I
some
know
other
that this has
person.
happened somewhere. Like, so it's always good to get like what worked, what didn't work, and how to resolve it. I was just thinking, you know what I mean? ML probably
Oh, absolutely.
will know if somewhere, somebody in Maryland has asked about. Or they
I
looked
had
through it.
one other question for Drew.
Yes, sir.
Remember I brought up about the cemetery roads being on the Google Maps? I told you it wasn't a
Oh,
high
yeah.
priority. Have you,
I have not. I
Okay.
apologize.
can you circle back to that, make yourself a note, see what you can do on that? They'd like to try to do something with their website, which I understand. They invested all that effort and they can't get those roads recognized and it defeats the whole purpose of doing them out. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Could it be designated like private lanes or something?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm just trying to figure, that was the same kind of an issue, we couldn't designate them a road, or then they become town property, which they're not. Kind of like the whole town house now.
Thank you, Drew.
Yes, sir.
Police Department, Chief.
All right, guys, you got our report, so just a few things to add to that. We did have a presence at Boonesborough Days, both days, both myself and Robbie. On Valley View, coming back up to there, we've had 3 cars removed since the last meeting. And we've wrote multiple warnings for parking in the wrong direction. And every time I'm up there, I really see nothing going on now. But
That's our parking though.
yeah, I mean, so we dealt with all the parking issues. Like I said, 3 cars were removed by the owners. I mean, we just contacted them and had the cars removed, so. That was, again, for the month of September. We had a power DMS demonstration brought to the department. It's what the county uses. Robbie used it at the county, and it's basically a way to push out directives, in service, different things like that. And I guess the best part of this is that it really reduces liability because it's pushed out to the officers on their computers and nobody can say they didn't get a policy update or anything like that. So I'm just gonna submit this for you guys to look at. Me and Amy's talk, it's nothing we really need between now and July 1st of next year. And that bill is gonna be around $4,000 if we did it from now till July 1st. We pick it up July 1st and we do a 1-year subscription, it's about $42.50. So, it actually, they have a 3-year plan in here as well that then you'll see increases every year, 5%.
You have to do your first initial one, you have to sign a 3-year agreement.
Okay.
And then, he increased it in increments of like 5%.
Yeah.
But once you sign the agreement for the first year, you're locked in at that price. 3 years. After 3 years, every year you renew.
Well, you have to pay like an upgrade to upgrade the information and everything that's in it.
There's no way to pay you back on the county.
We do it, well, it's based on the size.
Okay, just asking.
I asked that question, I asked about like a couple other smaller municipalities and I was sharing it, and the way that system works, yes, you could do it, but it's very, very difficult to do it that way.
You have to set up like a Boonesborough, Boulder, and Smithsburg.
Yeah.
But we're pushing the limits of that 9. It's 1 to 9 is what these prices are based on. So we're looking at 5 right now, and Smithsburg's right here around 5, so.
It would bump us into another tier if you go above that, yeah.
And the county's just so big, it would be almost impossible to try to maintain Boonesborough within WCSO, at least I think so. So that's that.
Okay, I have one other question, because you know how I am. So I guess this falls under having to put out bids, but we probably have to get comparable quotes.
It's a professional service, so I don't believe it does.
You are supposed to try to get 3 quotes, so that they can be verbal or written.
Okay.
That's probably a sole source.
I think that's the only one I know of, and anybody else knows of. I mean, Ray, well, I shouldn't say that. James, you use something similar and.
It was an in-house program.
In-house for DC, so it wasn't something for sale, so we can look into it. I mean, we got time. It's not like we have to.
Because it's more of a benefit to wait and do the full year.
I think so. I mean, we're fine this year with where we're at. for the remainder of this fiscal year. I mean, we just redid our policy, so everybody has it. You know, this is really good for policy updates and in-service, but everybody's done in-service, so that's not really an issue this year.
So then what do you give that you're getting, are you getting legal updates?
Yeah, and it puts everything in one place, right? Instead of going with paper copies or reading signs or anything like that.
So you have to like do a read receipt or something, is that?
Well,
Certificates, you issue certificates and it's a tracking tickler system that I've wanted now for probably 6 years. But it puts everything in one place. And then that way, 10 years down the road, if I'm not here or somebody else takes over, it's all there. Like you walk right into it and it's all there and you just push the stuff out. I can push stuff out to Dave. I can push stuff out to the guys, individual certifications that they might need, upgrading things that need to be upgraded. It reminds me to do that. It's a really powerful system.
And it is electronic signature, it says you are Robert Whittington.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. That I've read and reviewed it and understand it.
And it keeps their own, it's an electronic personnel file essentially.
So it's obviously going to automatically take updates. Can you put Woodsboro stuff in there specifically?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And we can adjust, like 10 years down the road, if we say everybody has to wear a mask, we can add that in there.
And another thing, the in-service training is a big thing. There's a lot of stuff that you don't have to go take a full 8-hour day where you're in training. You do it while you're working right there on the computer.
Yeah, that's the nicest thing. It's really cut down on in-service classroom hours. So county did one day this year, and it was for DT, defensive tactics.
Defensive tactics and firearms.
And every other year, it's going to be CPR first aid.
CPR first aid.
But other than that, everything else can be done through this, so. November 25th to December 19th at the academy, at Sharpsburg Pike is patrol tactics. So they always look for volunteers. The schedule is out, but the day-night schedule is not out. So it will be from November 25th to December 19th. I have the volunteer release form that I'll pass down. Anybody that you know that might be interested in going, even under 18, a parent can sign for them to go. It's a pretty good time. I mean, there's 17 left in the academy. It looks like they'll probably graduate 17. So Billy, one of ours, is up there. So, you know, if you know anybody, if you want to go yourself, you know, again, it's just patrol tactics. So they like to get the young kids as the runners, so they have to chase the young kids. So you guys will just be like traffic stops and different.
Easy touches.
Probably not, but it's an interesting time. If you've never been to a police academy, this is an opportunity that you can go. So I know Ray's often said he'd like.
Who do you use for DWI training? Do you get volunteers to come in?
Yeah, do you want to know? Here, I'll tell you when it is. It's in November. So standard field sobriety is the 11th through the 15th of November, and the wet lab is Wednesday, the 13th, and Thursday, the 14th, which means that's free drinking.
So the wet lab's a fun day.
So you drink at different levels, and they have to, and then there'll be sober people there that they'll have to see whether they're gonna, you know, if they think they have probable cause to do field sobriety or not. So that's a good, I mean, if you're interested in that, let me know. You can just let me know by email.
I think Frederick City did a marijuana one too.
Well, I mean, I guess it's possible.
I can do that on Ravens Walk, I'm gonna tell you.
But, so yeah, so.
It's a good way for you to figure out exactly how many drinks you can have.
That's what I'm
So November 11th through the 15th, the wet lab is the 13th and 14th of November.
13 and
14th of November is the wet lab. Yep. So, two more.
Do you get to request what kind of alcohol it
Yeah,
is?
you do.
Do they get in there?
It'll be top shelf stuff. I mean, it'll be good stuff. Yeah. So.
Maybe you should record it so they can see it. See what you're talking about.
Do I need a DD then?
Yes.
They look like you want
this. Believe me, MSP will be sitting on Sharpsburg Pike.
I'm going.
I'll let them know.
Ray, you can be my DD.
I think I'm getting it, Kim not
Dave,
getting it.
can you send me copies of the two volunteer things you
I think
Yep,
if you
we
send it
can.
electronically, you can send
Yep.
it to the whole council. and then
Yep,
we
we can.
The volunteer one?
The volunteer, yeah, and the Power DMS vote.
Yeah, the energy master, yeah, make sure you put that in the budget, as a budget.
Yeah,
And we'll bring that up in January. I just want you guys to see it, so. Vakari, the camera system that, we'd like to switch to camera by camera, they're coming on October 22nd at around 10 a.m. to do a site walk and install a camera. So.
They sent us a test camera. They're actually they've done this once before and I couldn't get the thing to work. So they're actually gonna come and they're gonna install it somewhere. I'm thinking probably somewhere out here because you guys get a lot more activity than we do. And our thought process with Dave and I is we have some holes in our camera system as it is now. We would like to talk to the council, to whomever, about expanding our system with Vakari using their system. And then eventually, as the older cameras kind of phase themselves out, using Vakari to phase them in.
We
I
have
think,
nothing at the north and south end of town.
no, we don't. Nothing at all at the north and south end of town. I know the pumping stations, we were talking at one point in time about putting some camera coverage on the pumping stations.
Be nice to get some at that roundabout.
Yeah.
Nothing else, a tag reader for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
We're talking about doing surveillance at the reservoir and.
Absolutely.
sewer plant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
We need to get prices for.
so
Yeah.
the 22nd is when they're supposed to come walk around with me. If somebody wants to walk around with them with suggestions or to give me suggestions, because I don't know where all these places are, it'd be great.
Let us know what time.
10 o'clock.
I think it's 10 o'clock. I will verify that for sure, but I think it's 10 o'clock because I don't get there until 9. So I think it's 10.
Just send us an email.
Okay.
You kind of want to phase out the camera the camera company that you use right now
What's that?
as they go.
As they go, yeah, I think as they go, they're getting a little bit older, and with the dishes and everything, it's harder and harder to use. This Vakara uses a different system and they're individual cameras, but it's all linked into like a web-based system.
How's their night vision?
Fantastic. Like this system is like, it's really cool.
So we would have been able to probably spot what we were looking for that day.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
And our camera system's very good.
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah, and we get a lot of compliments on our camera system, but the night vision part, and a lot of what happens with the night vision is how the lights are shining into the camera, that causes problems. So even with Vakara, that could still be a problem, but I'm hoping that they can help direct us to be able to manipulate that a little bit better.
A couple more things I promise. So graduation for Billy, if he makes it, is going to be January 8th, 6:30 p.m. at the Kepler Theater at HCC. And patrol tactics is a big one for him to get through, as is EVOC. So he's got two big hurdles to get through, but everybody at the academy is thinking he's, so I run PT and DT, so I had to go up and run PT this morning because they didn't have any other instructors. When Billy got there, there was 20 in the academy, and Billy was, I think, 18th on his mile and a half. And they finished 6th.
Great.
So
Great.
that's incredible.
Yes,
He's lost, I'm
Oh my
guessing,
gosh.
somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 pounds.
Oh, you guys might not recognize him. Like he's really.
I can just come down here and yell at you.
I think I'm going Tony to the drinking class.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. 6:30 p.m. on January 8th.
That's a Friday evening.
That's a Wednesday, I believe.
That's a Wednesday, I believe.
They have 2 days left of the academy. The nursing students are graduating on the 10th, so the Kepler was taken. So they backed this graduation up 2 days, so they'll graduate and go back to the academy for 2 days. So, yeah, but pretty much everything will be done. I mean, there's no risk of anybody failing at that. So, just a couple things to throw out there. Robbie hit me up today, and great ideas. We kind of put our heads together on the light situation, but he came up with Monument Drive. Would it be a possibility to put a sign up both ends of Monument Drive, local traffic only. And that would cut down on some of the traffic that's going through there. I think that's, I mean, I
They
don't know.
won't cut it all down, but.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make people think before they,
yeah.
you know, yeah, and.
Is that
We got any of those, Greg? We got any of those?
Good
signals?
question. I think we talked about that on my street at one time.
Probably.
Chief Morgan wasn't,
No, it's not, but I mean, it's a deterrent.
Mine was Drive.
If not, we can get them pretty quick.
So, and then the light out here at Main, St. Paul, and Potomac.
Both of them, actually.
So, especially St. Paul and Potomac, they go simultaneous. And if somebody's turning and a row of traffic's going straight, it just sits there and backs up. Is there any way to make them go individually?
We tried that.
Okay, we're just asking.
When we had the streetscape done.
Okay.
And when we had the turn lane up here.
Yep.
We wanted to have a left turn coming into Main Street.
Yes.
When they put that in there. And
On
they
the
said no.
traffic. Okay.
They said what, traffic wasn't bad enough.
Well, when was that? Because traffic is bad.
That was what.
It was whenever they put that lane out
Whenever they
there.
Put this lane, turn lane. in.
I was here.
So that's been within the last 6 years, because I was here.
They just want to put arrows down. Put an arrow down for people to turn, and then 2 lanes trying to go straight.
We want to delay on here, stay red longer, so those people turn.
Yeah.
Whether they have a turn signal or not.
Yeah.
They said no.
Okay, well, we're just, again, with some.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe if it comes from you guys, State Highway might.
Do we need to do a traffic study?
Yeah, do
They
traffic
did.
study. They did one.
They
Their
did do
people
one,
did.
quote, unquote.
So they're gonna wanna do their
They didn't
own.
do it in heavy traffic.
State
I went by
highway,
here one morning at 6 o'clock and the guy was sitting there counting traffic at 6 o'clock in the morning.
What's that?
State highway's exact comment was, there's only so much time that they have. And they can only allot so much to each direction, but yet you go through Washington County and there are countless intersections
Yeah.
where you have a left turn arrow
Yep.
for a couple of, whatever,
Yes.
10 seconds, 15 seconds,
Right.
whatever it is.
It just gets it flowing.
Well,
And they've
because-
actually
yeah.
changed the one down here at Chase 6.
Okay.
There are left turn arrows that come on now.
But-
Whether
But
there's a
there's
car there or where.
opposing ones. So there's turn left and turning in, like there's the turn on.
I agree with that.
And they didn't like it out here because we didn't have it, a lane to turn both ways, was
But even-
part of their problem.
Even out here at Chase 6,
They're
the
difficult.
Yeah.
left turn for both arrows, they come on whether traffic's
Yeah.
there or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
on a timer
Yeah.
instead of a tripping.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you had any T-bones out here?
Mm-mm.
I did, but that was at Cemetery Lane. Main Street. Lady did the gas.
Oh, okay.
Break and came out on Main Street.
We're just getting a lot of like, I see it in the morning because of the bus, but you sit on Potomac Street, 2 or 3 light changes, just
Oh,
trying,
yeah.
just trying to turn.
Because if you want to turn
Except
left,
we did
you come down
ask.
St. Paul Street.
And then you have people that are trying to turn from South Main onto St. Paul, a larger vehicle, not noticing their tail swing, that'll swipe people that are turning from South Main onto Potomac. We've had that a couple
Do
times.
you think when we get the Chase 6 and a light that will?
I don't know that that's gonna help
the
Main,
traffic at all?
I don't know if that's gonna help the Main Street traffic.
Yeah, because
It-
I'm
I
talking
know, I
about
can't,
the
yeah, it's a different.
northbound traffic from coming up this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It just backs up over the hill.
Yeah,
I've
it's
also noticed
rough.
people that's used this intersection a lot coming up St. Paul Street have realized if somebody's walking across the crosswalk, you watch that thing
Countdown.
count down. As soon as they hit once, they floor it and go around through there
Yep.
because as soon as it goes to 0, a light turns green.
Yes.
That way they beat people coming down St. Paul Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they aren't they going on a red light?
It's
Well, the
close.
policeman wasn't
It's
there to
close.
see them.
It's close. It's close.
Yeah.
Light turn, green
We
simultaneous.
can get red light cameras.
I want to thank you for your help this evening. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for reminding us. I forgot all about that. That happened about 2 years ago.
2 years ago during COVID, I remember it exactly.
Does that run out?
It
No,
should.
it should.
I wondered about
Yeah,
that.
it should.
Is there a paper that?
I don't think
she
that
sent?
one has a date on it though, Robbie. I think that one says permanent.
But it was actually hand delivered to her. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
we have them, and I've issued several since I've been here.
This one was written off of town hall letterhead. This was a different one. I'll show it to you when we get back to the office.
And you don't think there's a date on it?
I don't think there is.
Okay.
I don't think. And it actually, I believe it says she has to be invited to attend.
Okay.
And
Is it
Ryan
just
served
meetings?
that, right? Ryan, wasn't it Ryan Chris?
Town hall period.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's what she said. She has to come here to pay her taxes.
Town hall period.
She can mail
She has,
Well, I'm just saying.
she has to be invited,
That's
yeah.
just what she told me.
I believe Ryan did serve it.
Yeah.
I think it was Ron.
Yeah,
That was some very interesting times back
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So. All right, I'm finally done. Sorry.
Anybody else have anything to ask the chief? Thank you all, and welcome, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Let me rephrase that, officer. Yes, sir, Mr. Rogers, sorry about that. Thank you, I appreciate that. We appreciate you coming on board. Working with us.
So many people know James, but, I mean, what a blessing he's gonna be to the town. I mean, what he's seen in his career, more than me and Robbie together have seen, so can't even imagine. But, yeah, it's gonna be great having
All you
him.
gotta do is say DC and your mind will wonder.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be in charge of your motorcade security now?
He's,
He is?
he's obviously got that handled. Yeah. He moved the president and give me that.
Okay, mayor and council correspondence. I did attend the fall ball cleanup down Schaefer Park with the Green Fest people.
Thank you, thank you.
It's very well
Take care.
attended. As you noticed, on Saturday afternoon and evening, there was nothing in the park. J&J Trash Hauling did a fantastic job. They bought a bin down and didn't sit there till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday till it got picked up. So they were there right at 12 o'clock to load that up. All the TVs were hauled away. Finally, I guess people's finally got real older TVs. Spikers only had half a truckload this time instead of 6 kids sitting down there for them to come back to get another load. So it was very successful. People were very cooperative and understanding and thankful for the event.
Janine stopped in today, Solberg, and she said that that was the very first time that J&J had ever done something like that.
Yeah, and they did a fantastic job.
She was really
They were amazed that people bought in there, put in those garbage trucks. And people were amazed that you could take a great big couch and that thing just blew right up. Reminder, don't forget, October 31st, I know we'll have a workshop, trick or treat, 6 to 8. Boom Fest is coming up on the 26th. What's the hours of that, Ray?
On which one?
Boom Fest on the 26th.
It's an all-day event. I
All
think
day?
it's, Yeah, like 9 to 5.
9 to 5?
Yeah, I was gonna announce that.
Oh, okay, good enough. Thank you, sir. Anybody else have any correspondence? Hearing none, new business. Approval contract award, 12-inch water main and replacement, potable water reservoir contract number R1. What you got, sir?
I have the
Oh,
bid
man.
tab that we worked on.
You're okay.
We received 4 bids.
They're listed from lowest bidder to highest bidder. They're all in a range pretty close to each other. That's always a good sign. I always hate when you see something super low or something super high. So you've got some good bid numbers, and they are significantly lower than what our engineer's estimate was of over 9 million. So this is some really great news for the town, its residents, because it means you may not have to borrow money, all those type of things. So because you have, and Rachel certainly knows this far better than I do, with the ARPA funds and other restrictions, we kind of squeezed everything tight as we could. We put together an ad hoc committee of the BMUC and anybody else that wanted to be involved. because normally we would go to the BMUC, we get theirs, but again, we're under this time frame. So we put together an ad hoc committee, we opened the bids publicly, they were advertised, we took minutes, and we went through all the contractors individually, page by page. And that's, I'll let the ad hoc committee speak as to what they decided.
Didn't just look at the price, for HRI, we specifically went through and ensured that they had addressed everything in the addenda, and also that their materials were American made, because there are Buy America, Build America requirements for some of our grant funding. That was not a question that was asked, and addressed in the addenda, but, Davis Bacon Wages was. All of the contractors had addressed everything, so it really just came down to the price, but we did thoroughly evaluate all to make sure that they met all the requirements, we're referencing the kind of parts that we expect. And that was the purpose of forming an ad hoc committee, because we had representatives from the BMUC, we had representatives from town staff, mayor and council, so I think we covered all the bases. It was pretty smooth.
And HRI, if people question who they are, they're the ones who built our belief press and installed it too. So they're a very reputable contractor.
And they're also the contractor that installed Middletown's reservoir, which is the exact same as what we are installing. And Middletown gave them glowing recommendations.
And that was 3.5 years ago.
So I'll just add that we had received 4 bids. Of the 4, 1 was incomplete. They did not submit paperwork that was required, so that one got knocked out. As it was stated, HRI was the lowest bid, but we have a qualified project being done by them now, which is the Blue Press. It was already stated they already just did the same project for Middletown, and their price was the best price, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was the reason we picked them. We had Rachel, Eric, Colin, Greg, and myself here for the opening bids. And that ad hoc committee that we just spoke about did want to make a recommendation that we do hire HRI to do the reservoir and get that out ASAP.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion that we bid out to HRI to complete the reservoir project.
And I'll second.
5.97 million is what the price was.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any other discussion?
Did we get shared all of this and I missed it?
Say what?
The bid opening was at 4:00, but I did send you guys copies of the bids a couple hours ago.
I just didn't see the email yet today, because it kind of be bidding on it without having that. You know what I mean? We're spending that amount on it.
So they're a very reputable company, and like I said, they've done work for us. They did Middletown, and Middletown's got the same type of reservoir that we'll be getting in placement, and they did a great job for them. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
The only thing I will throw out there, Howard, is I asked during the pre-bid meeting as well as today, everyone was present today except Travis. And I asked, did anybody contact Dutchland to see what their lead time was? And we don't know. We didn't get an answer to that.
Callis was here tonight. That was
Yeah, I
the
saw
gentleman
him.
sitting right here.
Yeah, I saw him come in. You must have gave him the bad news.
I did.
No. So do we know the lead time for HRI?
No, it's not for HRI, it's for Dutchland, which is actually the tank manufacturer.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So-
Okay, so it's all dependent on them when any of them put that bid on it.
Well, they can start
But there's
digging.
a lot of groundwork that needs to be
Yeah,
done
they can
before they
start
get
all
to
that
the
now
tank.
before they get to the tank. They got-
Right, but
they
I
got
mean,
prepared.
if that was considered in your all's discussion, was there timelines given by?
Yes, the contractors are agreeing to have it built in the time specified, which means Their job to get Dutchland Tank there in time, not ours.
Okay, so my question.
They're held to that contract time,
What is it, 500 days, Drew?
500 days.
They have 500 days.
And if there would have been a problem getting something from Dutchland Tank, all the bidders would have said something.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't have been able to comply with the time frame.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor to proceed with HRI Incorporated for $5.89 million. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, approval of contract award 2024-2025 salt. Road salt.
Greg reached out to all the companies he knew to get a quote for salt, and we had 3 until this evening. We received a 4th one, so I don't know, according to our current procedure, we just have to make an honest effort to get at least 3 comparable quotes, which Greg did, but I don't know if it's an issue that you didn't have the 4th quote until tonight. The problem is that the 4th quote is the best one. So, until this one, $85 per ton was the best from Mid-Atlantic Salt, but we also have one now that's $82.25 per ton from Eastern Salt Company. The only concern is that their quote does not specifically say that this includes the freight, so we will need to confirm with them, but what I would like to do, if you guys are open to it, so he can go ahead and get this rolling since the temperature is dropping all the time. Can we vote to, or can you guys vote to approve a contract with Eastern Salt contingent upon this price?
As long as it's going to Boonesboro, Maryland, not
Says
Boonesboro,
delivered to
Carolina.
Boonesboro.
Okay.
Yeah, so as long as they are in fact, like they'll submit a revised quote saying that that is the price to Boonesboro, Maryland. And
if not, we go with.
If not, we'll go
And
with
if
the
not,
other
then we
5.
go with Mid-Atlantic Salt.
How many tons do you use either, Greg?
Just depends, but it don't matter if we get an inch of snow or a foot of snow, I use the same amount of salt.
Well, I mean, is that 4 tons or 100 a year?
100, 200. Like that bad winter we had, we used lower of 250. The one we had
So
8 years ago.
250 tons at $2.50.
I probably have 100 ton in the shed out there right now, so I'm gonna order
Put that
200
in
tons.
this year's budget, that mean we had to buy salt.
$25,000 apparently.
Okay.
So Mary, I
I know.
plan on buying 200 tons, so that's $17,000.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
so
We're coming in on that. Do I have a motion to accept the low bid with stipulation that does not include shipment to Boonesboro, Maryland? And we would go with Mid-Atlantic Salt, which would be $85 per ton, and we know that includes delivery to us.
So moved.
Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Everybody understand what we're voting on? Any question? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carried. Potential for sludge use.
This is, really just an FYI that, Drew has been in contact with Chris and, what's his dad's name, Chris and Tracy Thomas, that they are interested in using our sludge on their farmland. They had a consultant reach out to me and asked about, the nutrient content, but he said that we're still waiting on the results from that. So it's really, I mean, Drew, feel free to jump in if there's more they need to know, but just to kind of give you guys an idea that this is real, somebody's actually interested in using it, so.
Right, Greg, I think Tracy reached out to Greg. Greg went out and talked to him. We're gonna set up a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. They just wanna see what the process is and see what the product looks like, but they do wanna use it. There's some testing requirements that we're gonna have to go through. Pete's gotten the final permit from MDE so we can land apply it.
It doesn't really work that easy though.
No, it's not that easy. It's not easy. I mean, there's a bunch of hoops we have to go through.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through a company, or else we'll have to do all the testing on the land, the soil, everything. Like Senegal, we were originally supposed to go with them. And if we find them the farmers, then they'll just give us a better quote, and they'll take care of all that, hauling it to them and all. And they were only at like 55 grand a year to do that, so on their estimates from before, what they were estimating when they first started this talk about doing the press.
Is this gonna cost us more money going
No,
with the
no,
Thomases than?
No, what happened is if the Thomases or the farmers wanna do this themselves, they're gonna have to pay $75,000 to get the permits to do it. So there's no farmer's gonna pay that. Now, if you go through the company like Centergrow, if you find them their farmers local, that'll keep your costs way down with them, because they don't have to travel so far with it to get rid of them. They go right down the street, they'll be happy. But like I talked to Mr. Nazif from MDE, he told me when we do talk to these people about this and we get local farmers to take it, then that's when we bring Centergrow back to the talking table and get them to take the prices lower, knowing that we got someone real close to where they ain't gonna take it so far away. Before, they would talk about taking it to Virginia. So that will cut the cost dramatically if they find somebody local real close to take it.
So you got the permit, or the permission from MDE to land apply.
No, well, I mean, we do, but like you said, you gotta go through the process of. And right now, that's why I'm waiting on the nutrient results to get back from Nazif, from MDE, because he's gonna put us on a plan where it's like a list of things that you're gonna have to do specifically to be able to land apply. And they're gonna come up with that after we get back with the nutrient test, and he'll let me know how it's gonna go.
So
It's
what
like
does
I said,
that
just
mean?
not a simple,
What does
easy
that mean
process
at
of
the
going
end?
to the
If
ground.
the
There's a lot
nutrient
to it.
levels are wrong, what if we have to mix things with it then?
Well, you could possibly, it depends on the pH level of it.
So is this causing you a lot more work
They always do.
with the Thomases than another way
No,
to get
well,
rid of it?
because Maryland is very strict on land applying. And but there, until just recently, they stopped it all because of the PFAS thing going on.
Right.
And now since they're getting this PFAS thing under control, and they see, I guess what they're thinking is, because our water has tested low for it, it should, hopefully, it won't be high in waste. So, but we gotta wait for that test to come back to know more what's gonna go on and what we're gonna have to do.
So the point of why it's on the agenda is to say that the disposal of sludge is something that we need to start thinking about. They're running the dewatering press pretty much every day, most every day, and they're generating sludge. But just be clear, the amount that Tracy and his son want, they could take everything we have in 2 loads and it'd be gone. So we have some time here. But we need to figure it out because there are requirements no matter where we go. Now, when they hauled the sludge and took it away, MES was doing all that testing. That's the bill you paid for MES. That was included in the price. Now we're deciding where it goes, and we're gonna have to go out and look and see where is the best price. Yes, we need to find local contractors, because if we can find local farmers that'll take it, your hauling costs drop and you reduce your costs. So that's always a good thing. But Pete's exactly right. If the testing requirements for Maryland, we're gonna have to evaluate these. If 75,000, but we can go to Centergrow for 55,000, why would we go to the local farmer? Now, if Centergrow then has a charge that says, oh, we've got to haul it to here, and then it all equals out. I mean, we just have to evaluate.
So it said too, also, farmers, if they do it themselves, without that company, have to pay a $75,000 fee to the state of Maryland to land.
Right. So they
So where are
probably,
you at capacity right now with what you're generating in our storage area?
Oh,
I mean, we're not, because I haven't been down for a while,
So
so.
we're getting a nice little pile, but we got plenty of time.
So are you in favor of the Thomases getting?
Well, my question would be, like, if the farmer pays the permit fee, they probably can buy the sludge from
That's why we had said. we're
different
involved in
people,
this.
right? So they just have to pay it once, but they could buy it from us in Middletown or Brunswick, whoever has one that they need it from, right?
See, if we do it ourselves, then we're gonna have to hire more people. There's just gonna be a whole lot more testing. You'll have to go out to all those farms, wherever you're taking it, and keep testing their soil periodically to make sure that the nitrogen levels, the pH levels are good and all that. That's what Centergrow would be involved in, is where they take care of all that and haul it away. And you wouldn't have to worry about hiring another person.
So I guess our question is, what's the standard practice that other
That's what most people do, is hire
They have
people like
to hire a
Senator to come
company
take it away. So you do all the legality of it, and they take care of all the testing, and they know the procedures exactly how it goes.
Do we have prices for Senate Grove? Is that what they're talking?
And I guess we
Supposedly,
need
whenever they
to,
first
again,
did
you would
this,
have to put that out for bid.
supposedly they had the cost estimates whenever they first started of bringing up, doing the press. So it's all in there somewhere. I got a letter from them, from Senator saying that we already had something with them, but they need, I'll bring it in, I'll let you guys see, I'll bring it into you. I'll give it to you. But they're just saying something about, because of the new laws, what Maryland was doing with the PFAS thing, they may have to change where they do their negotiations.
I suggest, let the BMUC look at it and come back to you, because really what we're talking about now is, how do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to do it to local farmers? Your backup plan is always the landfill.
Right.
You can always go to the landfill. That is a proven one. So that's your catch-all, right? Now we want to look, what about farmers? Can they do this? Or do we go through Synagro? Or is there some other company out there? But what Pete is saying is, we need to get what the results are as far as content, the chemical makeups of the sludge, its pHs and everything, and make sure it's okay. And that's what Pete's waiting on right now. As soon as we get that information, then we'll be able to know, is it land unpliable, or gonna have to take it to the landfill, or are we gonna maybe have to mix lime in the process, and then we'll get exactly what we need, we get the savings. But we've got a couple of months before we really need to think about when this needs to be done, but it can't be forgotten, because sooner or later, the amount of sludge in that building will get full.
We should need to communicate that then, to the Thomases, because they're our neighbor down there, they
Yes.
rent land from us.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean, you have to understand, we'd like to be able to tell you right out thing, but.
Yep, we gave them a copy of the permit. We gave them a copy of the permit so they could see it for themselves and said, look, this is a new process for us. We've got to figure it out together. But just let you know.
That's why they kind of involved, because they're kind of a big operation that they probably know something about it too.
So you're not to belabor the point, but I'm sitting here listening to all this, we would be giving this to the Thomases if we go that route. Is that
No, I think they would.
That's how we get rid of it.
Or would give it to them.
Nobody's gonna buy it.
Oh, really? No one will buy it?
Not for the testing requirements.
Right.
So there's just so much work involved in it, testing, money that costs to do this. It's just gonna be a big savings to us just to find somebody to take it.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going. I mean, right now, we're spending 12, before the press, we're spending 12 grand a month or something.
Yeah, we've been spending here that now, so. We've been in, that thing's been in operations now ever since, for 3 months now. I think we maybe spent maybe $10,000, $12,000 in coagulants for it all this time. And we do that in 1 month before it.
And you haven't hauled any.
Yeah, we haven't hauled anything away yet.
Yeah, right, it's all being contained right now.
But it's a lot cheaper than what we were doing.
Oh, yeah. Not cheaper than $160,000, $180,000.
We were told us $200,000 costing us per year.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Council, back in our last workshop, we gave the police department permission to bring on a part-time police officer and James Swartz. So with the mayor and council meeting, we have to formally approve that in a regular meeting. So do I have a motion to accept for hire James Stewart as a part-time Boothburg police officer?
I will make a motion that we hire James/Jim Sword as a part-time police officer. We have a James and he's gonna be a Jim.
Yes, they're both James, or we're calling one James, the other one Jim.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, WRA change order number 4, additional engineering services for reservoir project permitting.
Sent you guys an email, kind of a heads up that WRA had incurred additional expenses because of all the issues they were having with getting permitting through the county. So they submitted change order number 4, and as of September 27th, they were sitting on $15,000 in unbilled labor, and this quote came in a lot higher, or not quote, but the change order came in a lot higher than what Andy and I had talked about. But he said they had to ensure there was enough to complete the permitting, which again, they've been having issues with, and replenish bidding services for the addenda, because there were 3 addenda for the bidding process. So the total for the change order is $27,140.
Anybody have any questions of Rachel on the change order? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept it, pay the $27,140 for WRA change order number
My
4?
question is, are they gonna bill us actual, or, and this is the max, or they're billing us for whether they use it?
I believe, first option. I don't know for certain, but that is like kind of
Yeah,
how I
you
understood
said you
the
talked about
conversation.
13 and now it's 27.
No, he said that at that point, almost a month ago, they were already sitting on
Oh, okay.
13,000 they hadn't built. So of this 27,000, they already had 13,000 to give us, but they were trying to make sure that they had enough to get them through the end. At that time, we were also struggling with the EPA for the environmental report, and WRA kind of in the back of their mind was thinking they might have to put effort in for that, which we found out now they don't. So I think that it won't be all 27,000. Again, I don't know that for certain.
So should we bill the county the 27,000?
Well, that's fine, I mean, this is just a recurring problem with the permitting and the county.
I mean, every time I turn around, it's got to do with the county.
You're right, all evening long.
I guess
All
exactly.
evening long.
Well, we're glad you are, but,
Oh, sorry.
I mean, this is ridiculous that it all comes back. I mean, I'll make a motion, obviously, we have to keep moving forward, I'll make a motion that we authorize this change order, but seriously, can the county pay some of this?
Okay, we got a motion to pay for change order number 4 at $27,140. Do I have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries.
Do
Thank
we
you.
need to get on the agenda for the commissioner meeting about all this stuff?
I think so.
I agree.
Okay, GDF, change order number 3, additional site paving for sludge dewatering press project.
So GDF submitted change order number 3 for a total of $14,889.65. And they also, kind of keep making do it, but they revised the end date to be October 31st, should be their final payment, or their final invoice, I guess, for the dewatering press. So even though the last change order was supposed to be the last one, there's now this, and it really should be the last one, because they should be done in the next 2 weeks.
And this is because Pete told them earlier, they didn't have enough room for the trucks to come around and then they're fixed.
Everybody listens.
I'll make a motion to approve the sludge dewatering press change order number 3 for the additional $14,889.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and pay the change order, GDF change order number 3 for additional paving and sludge dewatering press. Everybody understand what you're voting on?
We do.
Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Now, this one shouldn't be too bad. Environmental Commission members' recommendation, but I don't have a name.
I do.
Good.
We have a bunch.
Her name is Spice Cromie, and she is going to fill Amy's position.
Spice Cromie?
Yes.
How long will she be on serving?
November 2025, I think, is when it will end.
Okay, I'd like to, with the permission of the council, to appoint Spice Cromie to end of November 2025. Sorry about that. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstain, motion carries. Donation request.
Hold on one second. Are you gonna do the renewals also?
I can.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm going to make a motion to renew terms for Kathy Vesley for 3 years, Laura Schnackenberg for 4, and Cassandra Ladino for 4.
And I also noticed that I think Janine is up.
I think that was, if I remember correctly in the meeting, that was an error.
That was
She
an error.
had- I want to say she had been renewed. and then
Yeah,
was
that should say
rolled.
26.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Did you make that as a motion?
Yeah,
Karen?
she did.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Anybody else?
No.
Everybody else?
I'm sorry. Did they already approve Julie?
Yes,
Okay,
Weisenberg or something.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Gotcha.
Here
Thank
we
you.
have a donation request from the Boonesboro High School, Middle School Warrior Band. We would be an existing sponsor if we give them $100, because I think we gave them $100 last year.
Correct.
This goes towards business name will remain on our trailers and programs and added to the social media platform for immediate post through the school year.
I'll make a motion to do the $100 donation to the Warrior Band.
I'll second.
Here we have a motion and a second to donate $100 to the Boonesboro Middle High School Warrior Band. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries. Any other thing from the council before we go to commission reports?
I just do want to thank, I had sent, I guess, Rachel an email or a phone call, and then I think she talked to Dave and Amy about the homecoming parade. We were doing a little bit of dancing to try to accommodate, but apparently the problem does not lie with us.
No, it's a school.
So, because the parent had called me and said, the principal said they couldn't go parade because we hadn't issued or approved a permit to parade. Like,
No, there's no such
That's-
thing as a permit.
it's like, yeah, they'll a year in advance. I'm like, well, normally we just say okay and we get, police involved, and I'm sure we have time to do that.
I think the school board.
So I
did that
appreciate your guys' effort.
This year, didn't they?
So,
According to Amy, they just changed a bunch of the guidelines and like parent permission slips and different things, and she said there was no way she could pull that off in a week's time, so,
That's a shame.
yeah, it is.
Okay,
We tried.
yes, well, thank you all for your effort.
you're quite welcome. Commission report. Board, Ricky's not here, so we'll move on to Dewsbury Municipal Utilities. Tony?
Sure. Last time the DMUC met was September the 18th. There were no public comments under old business. The reservoir update by town manager stated the pre-bid meeting would be on September the 10th at 11 a.m. Several contractors were present. RFP was completed and published, and bids were due on October the 11th, and we were planning to open bids at 4 p.m. on October the 14th, which just happened earlier this evening. And we would be allowed enough time so that we can make a recommendation to the mayor and council. You all know how that went a little while ago. The Crestview water pressure reduction and bypass, Public Works Superintendent Huntsberry stated that State Highway has denied our request 2 times to run a water line on the bridge crossing, and there are currently plans with WRA for a stream bank crossing, which is under review. Lead service line inventory, Public Works Superintendent Huntsberry stated that all the work was complete and the EADS group is inputting the data. The internal water audit, Superintendent Huntsberry and Shoemaker, along with our town planner, are working on a plan to evaluate the entire system. There'll be more to come on that. Under the reservoir contingency plan, there was no current updates. More information will be coming out. New connections, utility plans for the Petrio Ambulance Company and 50 St. Paul Street. Town manager stated that we do have an MOU with the Petrio It has been agreed to. Nelson Baker was here representing the Boonesboro Rescue Squad. He stated that they are moving forward with plans to connect the public sewer and that review of plans are required with them because they want to know the fees that's going to be involved. And 50 St. Paul Street is waiting on an engineering review. ARM Group geophysical survey of the reservoir. The survey indicated that we might have a leak between the building along the road and the reservoir itself. Most likely is going to be a service line. Under new business, the chairman of the BMUC went over the EDU availability calculation worksheet. Basically, understanding is it's a living document, and that worksheet will be updated on a quarterly basis depending on our water supply on the wells and the springs, and if we've sold any EDUs in that quarter. Also under new business, there was an RFP needed for Fletcher Grove surcharge. There was a motion approved for the RFP to go out so that we can make that repair at the surcharge in conjunction with the auction house project. Under the dewatering press, we were working on a recognition for a longtime member of the BMUC, and we've not had any luck in getting hold of Doris. I think Terry was supposed to be stopping out at the house, but I've made several phone calls. I'm not sure what the concern is there, but I'm still trying to reach out to her, and I haven't seen her at church, so we'll have to table that for now. Under BMUC charter amendment, the chairman of the BMUC is working on a draft amendment to present on electronic voting for the commission. We did approve an RFP for construction management and inspection of the reservoir. That motion was unanimously passed. I'll get that LY in there. Under systems report, Superintendent Shoemaker noted that the spring pump needs to be replaced and that the crane will be on site September the 24th. There was a sewer pump failure. Shoemaker's hoping to repair and keep that one for a backup when the new pump is installed. HRI is completing their punch list at the dewatering press, and MDE has approved the permit to land the sludge. Superintendent Huntsberry has been on site at Stiles Place while contractors are installing a new water line, and the new service line at 222 Center Street will start this week or the week of the meeting. BMUC meets again on October the 16th, which is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's it.
Anybody have any questions of Terry? When you said church made me think of it. Greg, thank you and your guys for doing a good job painting the curb and putting the handicap sign up in front of the roof of the church. Thank you very much. Planning Commission, Eric?
Yes, sir. First, I'll start by apologizing to the mayor and council and the police department. Brenda had told me she was coming tonight. I did not know there was any sort of a reason she's not supposed to come.
I forgot about it too, until he reminded us. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the planning commission last met on September the 24th, and I note that between the time that a lot of these commissions meet and then we get to come here and report on them, well, a lot of things have changed. I think just about all I have to say here is different now, coupled with Drew giving his report. So anyhow, we talked about Mr. McElwee and the land swap, and the only thing that I had noted here that wasn't already said was they're requiring a 75-foot buffer on each side of the new road. That was one thing that was discussed in there that was going to be a requirement. Under improvement plans, just for the planning commission's information only, we put that on the agenda just to keep them up to speed with what's going on. We talked about the auction house and the temporary connection, and the commission chair asked about the temporary versus the permanent. And I said, I did not know personally that the temporary was able to handle 62 EDUs according to the engineering firm. So I think that does put a bit of a different spin on things out there. But nonetheless, as I stated earlier, I'd like to request funding in FY26 for the quote permanent solution. And we'll have a little discussion forthcoming on that. Under the comprehensive plan, Drew's been working with Aero. They're the consultants that he's been using for that. And he asked permission for a little input. How do they like the format, just with respect to chapter 1 at this point? How do they like the format? He's asking for their feedback. Do they want an executive briefing or not? That sort of thing. And he asked for some examples to be brought back to an October 2 meeting that we were to have with Aero, but that got canceled and has not been rescheduled yet. So that will be next on the agenda here pretty soon. As far as old business, Chase 6, the restriping plan, the cost estimate, that sort of thing, there was a cost thrown out there of about $5,900. They'll be coming here for some further discussion in a little bit, and we'll have to bid that out. The only item under new business was me. If you recall, some months ago, I came here and talked about a residential growth policy at the mayor and council level. I've since given my little spiel to the Utilities Commission and then that night to the Planning and Zoning. And they felt that I had some pretty good bullet points in there and some discussion. So right now, what I've decided to do is I'm just not going to push anything at the mayor and council level and let any of the data elements that I've laid out just fall into the comp plan as they see fit. So I'm just going to wash my hands of it and let them take over from there. So that's about it.
Okay, sir. Anybody have any questions of Eric? Thank you, sir. EDC, right?
Back to the apology tour for a minute. Here.
Yes, sir. Tissue.
You knew she could do her, I didn't actually invite her.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, yes.
First I ran into her at Redbird.
That's fine.
And she told me about this, and I actually did right up to look at it, and she's right, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
And then I ran into her at Redbird again. And she
Yeah,
said
stop
she-
hanging out at Redbird.
Yeah, I was talking about her. And she said she was coming tonight, and I said, oh.
Yeah,
well,
nobody invite her.
I did not.
Put us in a trick box and they did, or just make sure of that. Okay. EDC business, there was no formal meeting, there's a few items I want to just go over with you, some upcoming events. Thursday, the 24th at 11 o'clock, there will be a ribbon cutting for a new business, Solera Roots, it's a yoga studio. Eric, you may enjoy it.
Yeah.
Above the SR Studios out here on Main Street. I will be in attendance. The National Road Foundation is going to be having Boonesboro Visitor Center inside the National Road Museum. Opening is set for December 12th and 15th. It's going to have an opening weekend. There is, the actual date has not been determined, but in November, there will be an annual commission mixture. So all the commissions get together and hang out and brainstorm. I've done before, very nice.
What is that?
They don't have the date, it's gonna be in
Date to
November.
be determined in November.
Date's gonna be determined, but it is in the works. Boone Fest will be Saturday, the 26th, starting around 10, I'm sorry. They're not having a beer garden this year. Last year was completely washed out. Kind of sad. I hope the weather contributes, or complies this year.
Are they planning to block Lincoln Avenue once again?
That's what the plan is, similar to last year.
Did they notify people?
Yes. Yes, just like last year. Lessons learned.
What time did you say that ribbon was on the 24th?
The ribbon cutting is at 11 o'clock on the 24th, right down here at SR Studios.
Yeah.
3 yoga pants. Howard.
Yoga pants.
Yoga pants. Shit, of course you do. You wear them in a Redbird. I'm done. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Ray? Besides yoga pants? Okay, moving on. Environmental Commission, Terry.
Most of our meeting, we had a guest speaker, Michael, from the, looks like director for the city of Winchester.
His preferred name.
What?
Michael Recycle
Oh.
Michael Recycle?
Yeah. Well, it was about
Did
to
he catch
that.
He didn't tell us that, did he?
Yes, he did. He said,
Did
people call me
Oh,
Michael
Michael
Recycles.
Recycles.
I was kind of walked out. He was about the glass crushing operation, and I know they're looking to buy one probably. They're gonna be looking into some grants, I guess. And I really think that they need to figure out who's gonna run the thing and that kind of thing before all that happens. But anyway,
I'm curious, I'm so negative.
I think they wanna store it out at the waste. They already talked to Greg about that, yeah. And you're okay with running it even? No. I mean, that's what needs to, before any of the grants be gotten, I think they need to do that first.
I told them that the guy that is working the mall site that's out there required checking permits could run it while they were doing that, but nothing else.
Right.
Only on the Saturday while they're already out there checking permits.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think people are gonna put more glass in recycling if it's a box at your driveway instead of driving it out there. That's just how I feel, but anyway, there, November 20th at the library, there's a low waste recycle at 5:30. And they need a garden manager still. It's gonna close, the garden closes November 15th. And I think that's about it.
Anybody got any questions of Terry? Here, thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our mayor and council meeting. I do need a motion to go into executive session. General provisions, Article 3-305B1, subsection I, to discuss the appointment, employment assessment, promotion, discipline, promotion, compensation, removal, recognition, or performance, evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, and to consult with staff, constituents, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have an outline.
Same. Yes, sir.
I have an outline,
Yes, sir.
and it'll concern you guys too. As far as when I started, was employed here, did not take,
Don't run off.
did not take health insurance.
You want me here for the executive session?
You might want to hear this little
Yeah.
part.
Hold on.
Since I didn't take health insurance, I was given a $1,000 check. And that's not a yearly check, correct?
Correct. It's a one-time.
I didn't take the health insurance either.
No,
One
but you
time.
said that you plan on getting it.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing. My request, I may not throw it out there, at the county, if we didn't take their insurance, we got 40 hours vacation every year. I think, Jim, did you guys, no, I mean, at DC, what did, if you didn't take their insurance?
I don't know, I always had it.
Dave, you always had it, so you didn't know. And me and the chief were talking. And I think you,
Loudon and HPD I got yearly. Well, HPD, we got $20.
because you're saving a good bit of money and not
Yeah, it's offset
paying
by
insurance.
not having to pay insurance.
Mhm.
So are you requesting that they consider?
I'm requesting to consider a
Doing
yearly
that
payment for
yearly.
not taking insurance. It's,
Can I make a recommendation? We bring this to
Bring it up to the
personnel
personnel commission.
Yeah.
and let it start at the personnel committee level so that we can have a chance
I
to
think
talk
that's
about
the
it, because,
proper-
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's where it needs to start.
I'm new at these meetings.
Rachel,
Don't you think?
we'll let you
Okay.
know, we'll let you know when the meeting is and you can come to the.
And it'll be something that wouldn't go out till July, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But we
personnel
could-
should
yeah.
be the starting point for that conversation.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good.
Do you need us for the executive?
Close the meeting?
Thank you, well.
Okay, close the meeting.
Okay, no fights?
You guys shouldn't
He hasn't
be.
closed
We
the
got
meeting.
Greg here.
Are you closing the meeting?
Yeah, we have a motion. Oh, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. Now we're closed.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.